Welcome to the Roadmap, Benzinga's NFT show. We've had great teams, great interviews, past episodes. The teams behind Pixel Vault, Art Blocks, Robotos, The Doge Pound, Oniforce, Crypto Dads, Lazy Lions, Supduck, Sappy Seals, and more. Today, we are going to be joined by one of the top holders of Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs. If you haven't heard of Bored Ape Yacht Club, you probably are new to the NFT space. It is the hottest NFT collection out there, and we are so excited to get some insight today from one of those top holders. We're also going to be talking about Justin Bieber buying an ape later on and some top Bored Ape Yacht Club sales and news and headlines. Everyone stay tuned. This is the Roadmap. All right, everyone, that's right, the Roadmap. Go ahead, smash that like, subscribe to Benzinga's YouTube channel, and leave us a comment in the chat if you're here watching us live. If you're not here watching us live, we still love you too. This show is available as a podcast and also airs on YouTube after the fact. You can always go back and watch the replay. So we're so excited to have everyone here. Also want to shout out today's sponsor of the show, FTX. So FTX US is one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges in the world in terms of trading volume and daily users. The app is used by over 6 million people to buy crypto and NFTs with no transaction or withdrawal fees from your phone or computer. The FTX US trading platform offers NFT trading on the Ethereum and Solana blockchains with no gas fees. To learn more, you can go to ftx.us and click on the link in the description below and also pinned to the chat right now. So go ahead and check out FTX if you have not already. And a big shout out to them for sponsoring today's episode. And it is time to go ahead and bring on my co-host, Brian Moir from Benzinga. Brian, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, just happy to be here. Excited about this one. It's going to be
so
very
excited.
interesting.
So excited, Brian. We've got a big show. I mean, how many episodes have we talked about Bored Ape Yacht Club? Probably all of them, right?
Yeah,
It is the biggest NFT collection out there, and it is getting so much steam, right? We've got celebrities in there. We've got athletes in there. We've got the floor price growing tremendously. They just take care of their users. They're doing more and more collections that are available. They got a token coming. So much to get into. I don't want to bore everyone with too much about Bored Ape Yacht Club. If you're not familiar with the project, it launched back on April 30th, a collection of 10,000 Bored Apes. The original mint cost was 0.08 Ethereum. Today we have a floor price of 116.5 ETH. Passing 100 ETH floor on this past weekend. Brian, I'm so excited to get into this, but I think before we bring today's guest on, I believe we have a little trailer to show everyone who it is and maybe some of the apes that he owns. Should we roll that trailer? What do you think?
Absolutely, run it. Just a banger.
All right, that trailer straight fire. Shout out to our wonderful video production team for, of course, making these trailers for us. I think it's time, Brian. It looks like he's ready in the background. I am so excited to welcome to the Roadmap a top 11 Bored Ape Yacht Club holder, Franklin. Franklin, how you doing today?
Hey, what's up, Chris? What's up, Brian? I'm pretty good. How y'all doing?
I
sold an ape yesterday, so I got 36.
You know, someone called me out on Twitter about that because we've been saying this whole time, 37 apes.
And then, of course,
Yeah, of course you went and sold one, and I know you kind of have been doing that these past couple weeks, letting one go, buying back in, and selling, which we'll get into later on in today's episode. But yeah, so just a slight correction: Franklin, the owner of 36 Bored Apes, still one of the top holders out there. A tremendous portfolio, and yeah, that trailer highlighted some of them, including the gold fur one, which we will also get into later. Franklin, as we welcome you to the show, just for anyone out there who's not familiar with yourself, give us a little history of who you are, what you do, and how you got started in the NFT space.
Sure. So, my day job is I'm an engineer, and I guess during COVID in 2020, I got interested in the crypto space with mostly just doing offshore prediction markets or betting on sports and esports. So once election day happened in November of 2020, I started a Twitter account just to follow the news to see what I could do in those markets. By probably by the new year of 2021, I was using that Twitter account, didn't really have like 5 or 10 followers, but I was following a lot of people and just went down the crypto rabbit hole a little bit further with crypto, Bitcoin and Ethereum booming, and Polygon, the Matic token was booming. So that, as probably a lot of current listeners have noticed, one thing would lead to another. Once you get into crypto, you'll probably read something about NFT and then not get you very interested. So around mid-February, early March of last year, I found out about NBA Top Shot, and that was really what turned me on about NFTs. I thought that a lot of people, made a lot of money through NBA Top Shot, and I was trying to do the same thing, but just based off how that project works, it wasn't a money-making situation for me. I pretty much paid, top dollar for every single moment, and it just, tanked in price as the overall supply of the ecosystem grew. But that wasn't the important lesson that I learned. I think the most important lesson I learned from that was just basically how NFTs worked. How, in this case, it was a company, partnered with the NBA, but they were able to mint different video highlights on the blockchain, just like different companies print out sports cards. And I kind of drew that direct connection, and I felt like digital was going to be the way to go, because I can't buy a sports card, from the store here and then instantly sell it to somebody. I'm in Florida now. I can instantly sell it to somebody in like Japan, in 5 seconds. But through the blockchain, I can do that. And so that's where I think we were heading. It just wasn't a money-making venture for me, and I was still curious of how to make money and how I could do to grow in NFTs. I think I'd already learned how they worked at the time, thanks to Top Shot. But the Bored Ape Yacht Club is really what accelerated everything for me at such a rapid pace. And like you said, 9 months ago today, overnight on April 30th, May 1st is when all 10,000 apes sold out. So I was on my Twitter account, following all the Top Shot influencers, and a lot of them changed their profile pictures to apes. And they for Top Shot, they didn't change their profile pictures to like their favorite basketball player, because it was a video. It's kind of hard to flex a video in a small circle picture. So when they did it with their apes, it really caught my eye, especially with the amount of people that were doing it now, people that are talking about it. So I had to quickly learn how to mint an NFT on Ethereum. I didn't have a laptop. I only had a work laptop, so I couldn't mint on my, I had a personal laptop to mint on. So I was on my phone, MetaMask app the whole time. Had to go log onto the Bored Ape Yacht Club website and mint. I had no idea. Nowadays, if you log onto a website you've never seen and mint, they might take your money. I didn't know at the time. I was just, trying to follow directions. And I minted 3 apes, and I was pretty happy with what I got. Once I figured out they sold out, I was kind of too nervous to bring in more money to mint, because I thought I wouldn't be able to buy it in time. And then I caught wind that there's something called a secondary market called OpenSea for buying more apes. So then I started bringing more money, and the floor price was like 0.15, 0.2 ETH. Now keep in mind, this was such an easy decision because there was really no other project like this out there at the time. Nowadays, there a project mints out, you're probably a little bit more hesitant to buy on secondary market, because you just get another chance tomorrow to mint something else, or you have 10,000 other projects to look at. So, but at the time it was just all apes and everybody was talking about it. So with incredible sales volume, incredible activity, the floor price kind of trickled up to about 0.2, 0.3 ETH. I was buying as many as I could. I bought like 10, and then I saw the gold for ape. I was that sort of taught me how to look at different traits and research floor prices, and just this, and I had to kind of make my own ranking skill. There was no Rarity Tools was probably like half a day or a day out from releasing the ape ranking, so I just had to do all the research I could to find every single ape's traits to figure out maybe down the line this ape might be worth more than another. So it was a very fun experience, given my background in engineering, doing math and spreadsheets and stuff, that tied into my huge financial investment buying. I had 30 by the end of May 1st. Then I kept between 25 and 30 this whole way through, and then by November, December, I started buying as many as I could, because I figured we'd see such a huge rise in floor price like we have. So that's how I ended up getting to 37 and now 36. But yeah, that's the it's a long story of how I got into Bored Ape Yacht Club, and everything else has kind of been right place at the right time.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to cut you off there, Franklin. It's such a cool story, to hear that you minted this project. Not a lot of people out there can say that anymore, that they minted in, at that low cost, of course, and have watched this project from the start. I loved hearing the Top Shot connections myself. That's how I got into NFTs as well. I remember the earlier days when, you could get in line for a pack. And if you were one of the lucky people to get a pack, you could turn around and, flip those moments for a profit. But, as you mentioned, we did see kind of an oversupply, which then, kind of just wiped out demand. So I still have Top Shots in my portfolio. I don't know how they're doing anymore, but I am excited, of course, for the NFL ones to release, and maybe we'll have a second go at the sports market here. But so you mentioned, that you owned 30 around the time of the mint, or shortly after. You own 36 now. You had 37 the other day. So is 37, is that the peak? Is that the highest number you've ever owned for Bored Apes?
Yeah, it was 37. Once, because I wanted to get a 36 so I could have, this sounds like a stupid reason, but I could show them all at the screen at the same time. It's a lot easier mathematics wise to have a square, and where, if we're all talking about profile pictures and, how they look, I think geometry and math is important for how you display your art. So it was nice to have a nice square, or I could do widescreen, but 9x4. Like I said, this is really stupid, but it's something that was important to me. So once I got to 37, I was like, I can't do that anymore. But it was just a personal achievement for me to be able to make enough money in NFTs to buy one more. Once I hit 37, I started looking at other projects. Like one that caught my eye was the Creeps project. They're in the comments now. Being ridiculous. But I thought that with the amount of apes that I had, I could sort of, instead of buying one more, maybe just diversify just a little bit, and then maybe if things work out, I could resume buying apes if and make enough money doing other trades. So I think 36 and 37 will probably be the max for now. And then don't forget, well, I don't know if we're going to talk about this later, but the quote unquote, this is just a rumor, the ape coin is going to be coming out Q1 2022. So within the next 2 months, hopefully that could give me enough, tokens. I got to be legally correct here. Get enough tokens to somehow, get another ape in the long term. So I feel like I can get more. It just be a matter of time. I'm not in any rush, and I'm happy to be in a situation where I could, like I said, I had 37. I could sell one for above floor price, and then use that money to buy another one to get 37. And that's just another, reverse way of taking profits and still keeping the amount of apes ready for this token drop.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's talk about your solid gold fur ape. It's one of the, I guess you'd say one of the rarest traits, and your PFP. And so have you embraced it and put it into kind of your brand? Have you used it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I made it my profile picture on May 1st. I'll retweet it on my feed. I kind of want to do it every month, just like a monthly anniversary. So I put it as my profile picture, and I bought it from Pranksy. Pranksy is a very well-known,
Mm-hmm.
very successful NFT collector. And so I thought that just me buying it from Pranksy wasn't a nice enough of a flex. And I thought that, I'd seen other gold, Pranksy sold 2 other gold apes before mine got sold. And mine was 4 ETH and the other 2 were 3. So I was kind of upset at the time that I paid 1 ETH more for it. Obviously it doesn't matter now. So I just wanted to, to flex it. This is what we all do now. We buy something and make our profile picture NFT. I didn't think much of it as like a pure branding situation until maybe like 2 or 3 weeks later when I realized the full potential of apes and what you can do branding wise. So I put on my t-shirt, so I have it. I don't know if you see it. Yeah, I have the ape on my t-shirt. So I've sort of kind of molded into the ape right now. I had it as my LinkedIn profile picture since probably July or August. And then LinkedIn took it down. So I'm in protest. I just uploaded the 2 circles picture that they replaced it with. So it's like, okay, if the picture that I uploaded doesn't look like me, that's the picture they gave me. So if they take it down, they're just going to replace it with the same picture. It was just fun. It's just funny logic. But I think eventually LinkedIn will adapt to Web3. That's probably inside info, but yeah, they'll probably adapt to what Twitter's doing and let us use our NFTs as verifiable profile pictures.
Well, so I
would. Mm-hmm. So I will definitely keep this ape. I thought about flipping it for a short profit, very, very early on because I didn't know any better. But there's no point in me doing it anymore. Like if I need the money that I would make from selling this ape, I could just sell 4 or 5 regular apes. But then that hurts my 36 ape count. So
yeah,
I don't really need getting rid of it or having the money is nice, but I think I can go a lot further. We're just less than a year in. We're probably like 5% done the roadmap. So there's a lot more I can do with this ape than just getting rid of it.
I feel you. I had an Atom Bomb Squad, and I sold it because I needed the money. And I thought that I'd be able to kind of flip it because I turned a profit, flip it, and come back in a week because I just needed to utilize it. Now the floor is at 1.5, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I missed out this huge thing. And this I'll just give a shout out to Atom Bomb Squad. They're one of my favorite NFT projects, and I think there's gonna be a whole lot of stuff you're gonna see with them. So eventually I'll get back in, price it out. If anyone has an Atom Bomb, or an ape or mutant, just let your boy know. But
I saw the floor price is 0.97 last night in that.
I just checked; it was 1.5.
Now you say it's 1.5. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of projects that I missed this month. I think if you were new to NFTs in like May, June, July, there were a lot of projects you can make a lot of money off of. If you just minted and held till like September, October, but October really shook me. It was pre-NFT NYC, but October really shook me. A lot of ETH went up from like 2,800 to like 4,200. A lot of the floor prices just tanked.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was scared about this time around. Now ETH's going up to like 2,800 and probably beyond. But it seems like there's so much new interest and new money coming in that projects, even that tanked a lot back in October and November, are skyrocketing now. And a Bomb Squad for one, they're just on the way up and up. And that's like, I could name like 20 different projects that
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, they double and triple.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, I'm the same way.
I know. I'm really sad because I was like, I needed it, but I wanted it, and I tried to cancel. But the sign message didn't go through in time, and someone scooped it. I'm like, God damn it. But well, it's all right. If anyone has one for cheaper than the floor, just let your boy know. We'll make something happen. But what I wanted to see. Speaking of that, how much would you sell your golden ape for if you had to put a price tag on it?
So if you look at my history from my hot wallet, and I know this because I had to actually cancel the listing when we had all the OpenSea issues, because I remember probably like May 2nd or May 3rd, I listed it for 16 ETH, which was 4x my money. And that would have been like, I probably would have retired from NFTs if I had gotten 16 ETH from a 4 ETH investment. For real, I'm serious. I wouldn't have. I would have just cashed out. But I couldn't cancel that listing. I don't know if I didn't have enough gas or something. I probably didn't have enough gas. So I had to make a new wallet, transfer the ape to that wallet. But then I had to transfer ETH to the new wallet too, so I could pay gas to transfer it back. Sorry, my dog started barking. But transferring it out and transferring back I thought cancel the listing, and that's how I remember I had listed it for 16, and I was like, okay, I'm good. Nobody's gonna buy it. I kind of got more diamond handed, after a few hours, and was like, okay, let me, hopefully, hopefully that listing disappeared. And so that was pretty much the only time I really wanted to sell it. I did for a while keep a really, really close eye on the gold for floor price, not because I wanted to buy another one, which I probably should have bought another one, but just because of the clout that I thought having the highest floor price, Ape could bring. I thought people would care, hey, he has a 40 ETH Ape or he has a 50 ETH Ape. Then it hit, 100 and reached up to like 300, 400 really fast. And by then I was like, okay, this is $1 million Ape. I have to hold on to it because it might just only go up from here. So if I had to if somebody offered I don't know, in terms of ETH, it would probably have to be like 2,000, 2,500 ETH just so I can have enough to buy back in to get a gold Ape. Similar to what I'm doing with.
Or you wouldn't even have to do anything the rest of your life if you did that. Let's just be honest.
Yeah,
you'd just be doing that for fun. I mean, it's like money would be a token. Actual money is now crypto, the fun internet money. Mm-hmm. At that point, it's like whatever.
But I think that, I mean, it's one of those situations where, obviously there could be a huge tank or a huge bust in the NFT market. I just think that having the gold Ape is kind of set for a long, long time. I really don't think there'll be a situation where if I would have trouble selling it, and not be comfortable about the price. Whatever I would get for it would be something I could live off of for a long, long, long time. But I don't live that way. I don't have that lifestyle, so I don't really need that money in my pocket. If I did have it in my pocket, I would probably put it right back into crypto to grow it.
Mm-hmm. I guess I'll throw it back over to you.
All right, perfect. So you mentioned, the token, right? So that's been news. We've got a token coming. We've got a mobile game coming. We've got the possibility for more airdrops. We've got a monetization talent agency deal signed with Siri, Maverick. Mm-hmm. All these items for Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? And there's so much to be excited about. But Franklin, what is it that you're most excited for with Bored Ape Yacht Club, over the next 12 months, let's say?
That's a great question. I guess it depends on what they're going to do in the next 12 months. It's funny because a lot of NFT projects, if you don't hear from the team or there's no update or there's no, utility announced in a week, the floor price will tank and because of, FUD or things just people selling off or people getting upset. But it seems like with Apes, these 4 anonymous or semi-anonymous founders can sort of build, underground for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time. And what do we see? We see people, excited about what's to come. We see new people coming in all the time, new famous people, and that probably has an effect on the price and making them more valuable. So it's by the time that they do have these new sort of innovations, new things out, we've already kind of raised the price up so much that it will go crazy from there, I think. But what I'm most excited about, and probably the most popular answer, I just want to see them build an actual club in Miami. So that's on their roadmap. I live in Florida, so it's a short flight away from Miami. So it'd be somewhere where I could talk to my wife and say, hey, let's fly down to Miami and go hang out at the club. I think that's something really cool. I've never been part of a golf club or a yacht club or a sports car club or anything like that. But to get into a yacht club, you would need sports car type money. So it's all the same for me.
Love it. Great answer. Franklin, you mentioned celebrities there, and that's something we talk about a lot on the show, right? Is the large number of celebrities and athletes getting into NFT projects like Bored Ape Yacht Club. So I saw on your Twitter that you recently sold one of your Bored Apes to Marlon Humphrey, Baltimore Ravens. Tell us about selling apes to athletes and maybe celebrities. Any fun stories on your interactions with athletes and celebrities here?
That's a good question. Obviously, the athletes weren't around when we were buying and selling these at 0.3, 0.4. Maybe a couple of them jumped in, which was great at the time. I remember LaMelo Ball got in probably at around 1 ETH, and that was one of the most craziest, wildest nights in the Discord. once that happened, I was like, okay, this is really serious. I mean, obviously he was dropping his own NFT project at the time, but I try to separate the two. I'm like, if you know, buying it in your private club, it doesn't really matter your motives. But I think Marlon is probably the most famous person I've sold it to, and definitely one of my favorite football players in general. It's just a coincidence that he was already in BAYC and then sold an ape. I think he had gotten injured playing. I don't know if that had an effect on his decision, but he sold the ape, and then he wanted to get back in. So mutual connection, DM me, and then we started texting each other. And then I was like, I was frank with him and honest and said, hey, I want to sell it so I can get back in at a lower price. And he picked the ape out, and I was like, let's do 107. I think the floor price was probably maybe like 104, 105 at the time or something. So I was able to get back into like 104. And to me, with because I had just bought that ape to be my 37th ape at 90, it wasn't like an ape that I was attached to and like, was going to dive in it forever. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll sell it to you, and then I'll go buy another one for cheaper and pocket the difference. So I would do that and put the money into other projects like Creeps and stuff, and get the look for other ways to grow that money, at least long term, while I can do these short term like flips for apes. So that was kind of my strategy this past week, and the sale to Marlon kind of kicked that off. It's nice to have those pretty collages, but then when I sell an ape and buy a new one, I get to make another one and trigger all the haters. So it's fun. It's more fun to make these collages and videos. I just have a blast. I'm not an artist, so doing stuff like this is just kind of how I express myself.
That's awesome. Love it. And you shouted out the Creeps, which has got to make the chat real happy right now. They are taking over the chat. I'm sure you can see all those comments on screen.
Have you had any discussions about that project before?
We have not, so it'll actually be in our headlines later on, because it was one of the top 10 projects last week by sales volume, which we usually talk about on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, all the Creeps fans in here. We'll try to get to that at the end of the show, but we'll reach out to the team as well to try to get them on here for an interview. That's something we love doing on the roadmap, is interviewing the teams behind projects. But yeah, shout out to Creeps for taking over the chat today. So speaking of athletes, Franklin, we do have the Super Bowl coming up in a couple weeks. Ooh. This was a topic we talked about when we had Hunter Orrell on here, also an ape owner. So we have Von Miller of the Los Angeles Rams owns a Bored Ape, and also several halftime performers own Bored Apes. So how big of a deal is the Super Bowl for Bored Ape Yacht Club, and maybe how big is it for NFTs overall?
I'll just start with the one of the most recent comments I got. The guy that connected me to Marlon told me that Marlon wanted the ape before the Super Bowl. And so I'm like, if I had known nothing about the performers or nothing about Guy or C or anything, I would have been like, oh, cool. Maybe, that was just a personal, timeline. Maybe he just wants it to show his friends at Super Bowl or something. But since you mentioned all of that, it just, being on Twitter all the time, you just kind of, your brain just loves the rumors. And it's like, are the dots really being connected here, where we have, we watch a Super Bowl commercial and it's like Eminem and Snoop Dogg, and it's like, oh, they both own apes. And it's like, they both bought apes at a reasonable time period so they could use them to brand. And it's like, they'll both be on stage at the same time. You usually don't see those two on stage at the same time. So the fact that they are, the names with those two, just those two alone would make a huge headliner. And then everybody else after that, who knows what they would be showing if these two are going to show their apes, who knows what the others are going to be showing. Pepsi getting in the NFT market, very timely time period. And then, I actually got another person, not athlete, just a mutual friend who said somebody was looking for ape by the Super Bowl too. So it's like, this rumor is beyond that shows that this rumor has gone beyond just us talking about it on Twitter. And it just makes me really excited to see the Super Bowl. I don't, I try to keep myself from believing in anything, so I'm never going to say it as fact. But I'm just really excited, even if nothing happens. Just the fact that we had Bored Ape owners and ambassadors on stage performing at Super Bowl, I think it's a big deal. And even if they don't even if they don't mention apes, the fact that we're doing it now is definitely a huge deal, and probably influences, like I said, influences people to try to get in before the Super Bowl, because we're not we as an ape owners in the ape ecosystem have been so influential that we can, I guess, get people to think that we're going to do something by the Super Bowl, which drives up demand. So I think that's a really powerful statement about the effect that the apes have had on the mainstream culture.
Definitely.
So, are you interested besides the creeps in any other projects right now?
I have a Genesis CyberCon. So what led me to just those, and I did sell a lot off to buy into creeps, was just the passive token yield and the game theory. And there's other projects that do that as well. Once I picked one, and it was creeps, I just went all the way in. I could have gone into other different projects, but obviously there's no wrong answer in this month of January and February. Oh yeah, somebody mentioned Sappy Seals in the comments. They have a tokenomics ecosystem similar to creeps, where you buy it and you pay gas to stake it. Once it's staked, you get token yield, and then you pay gas to take out the token yield if you ever want to swap it for ETH on Uniswap or SushiSwap or another website. And as long as we have more people coming into the project, more people buying, I stressed in the Creeps Discord, as long as more people are buying the token and there's usage for it, just like there's utility for Dogecoin and there's utility for Bitcoin or ETH or Solana. If there's a reason for you to buy it and maybe spend it on something else, and maybe with the quote unquote ape coin coming down the line, I think that will be very valuable for NFTs in general, and it could broaden the audience for people who want to get involved in crypto, who want to get involved in just digital currency. So that's why I was so heavy into creeps, because I was seeing the amount of yield that you get was a lot per day, and I was like, okay, well, if it's basically, it comes down to the fundamentals of NFTs. If somebody wants your token for more than what you paid for it, then that's a good sign. And so I really think that with that team and CyberConk's team and Savvy Sales and etc., they are really, really going to be working, and Bored Apes, they're really, really, really working hard to make sure that the token that gets that's going to be yielded is going to have really huge use in both crypto, or specifically for DeFi people, or in the metaverse ecosystem. And that's a really I guess bullish or positive sign that I see for just Web3 in general, how much we can expand with that.
I mean, yeah, that is a great point.
You don't just have to buy Bitcoin and do nothing with it, or invest in a Bitcoin ETF and just hope that it goes up. You can actually buy these tokens to go use it in another something else that you might be more interested in.
Yeah, and like cryptocurrency, well, specifically Bitcoin, was started as a decentralized person-to-person payment method. So there's no bank, there's nothing. It's just me to you to sell it anywhere in the world, wherever. And then it slowly has graduated into this from 11, 12 years ago when it started, maybe a little bit longer, but whenever it started, to this whole dynamically driven and multifaceted, just different aspects that can happen with these blockchains and cryptocurrencies. It's really interesting. And with NFTs and I could talk about it for hours, but we're gonna just move on from that. How active are you in the Discord? Do you like to be in, like, on Twitter? Are you a big social media guy? Do you like to talk to people and get to know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I try to respond to as many people as I can on Twitter. I get a lot of DMs nowadays, so it's hard to get back to everybody, but I try. It doesn't really matter how many followers you have or who you're following. I try to follow as many people as I can, especially if they have NFT profile pictures. I've been spending more time on Twitter than Discord. If somebody hits me up nowadays with a decent project I could promote for a fee, that's another way of passive income I can make for Twitter promoting. But other than that, I just like talking about apes or cybercongs. I'll try to start gradually talking more about creeps. You just have to be careful with the amount of following that I have. It took me months to realize that if I tweet something, people actually
they'll go do it.
They'll buy and sell stuff. So I don't want my tweets to control.
They'll hold you accountable for it too.
Yeah, I mean, I was on the other side. I still am. I would read people's tweets, people who had way more followers than me, the same people who I might have way more followers than now. I still respect them and look up to them, and still act on their tweets. I just didn't think I was going to be that person myself. But I completely understand how other people can see me that way now. It just took me a while because I would buy stuff. That's why I bought Apes. I saw a lot of people change their profile pictures to Apes. There was no other reason for me to do it. I would not have done the research on my own if it wasn't for the influencers. So I just need to be careful of what I pump, especially if I'm trying to make money. So I usually try to not tweet about anything that I'm happy about unless I actually sell and make the money from it first. So then it's like, they can say Franklin's already out of it, so there's no reason for me to buy it. But at least the project will be on their radar.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned there was a bug in OpenSea where some apes are being sold at previous floor prices or previous sold prices or what they were bought at and whatnot. What do you think? Like, what is kind of your reaction to that? And do you think OpenSea handled it well, or do you think that maybe some of these other new platforms are going to be able to circumvent this and prevent something like this happening, like Look Rare or even Coinbase?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, I listed my Ape for 16 ETH, transferred back out, and then I haven't luckily had to send it back to Hot Wallet ever since. But I think unfortunately, I came into the world of crypto even with Top Shot being a more centralized platform and Dapper. I was under the impression that where once you get into crypto, there's no insurance, there's no refunds, there's no bank to protect you, because at least in 2015, 2014, 2015, etc., you would hear about crypto and it would be all this like negative, like black market, dark money type things that were kind of scary. So that was kind of my opinion about it. So I was like, okay, if I ever got into it, I would have to be responsible for my own decisions, and there's nobody that could help me if I lose anything. And so with these apes getting exploited, I sort of had to sort of warm up a little bit because like, for example, if it happened to me and I'm sitting here with all these apes, like who's going to be crying for Franklin? Nobody's. No. I mean, probably people will, but deep down they're like, he already has this many. Nobody's really going to.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah. So, but I don't want to be like, I don't want to openly say that. Obviously, that's a very, very negative view.
Yeah.
There's no reason to state the toxic obvious like that. So I'm really happy that OpenSea, with the amount of commissions that they've made, are able to refund these apes at market value, not just at the floor price for apes. They actually do their research to figure out what the ape should be worth, and they've been refunding people. The issue, I guess, just with OpenSea is that I hope they do that for anybody that gets exploited. I don't want it to be just apes or just creeps or just gutter cats or cool cats, all the high 5, 10, 15, 20 ETH projects. If you bought even if you bought it for 0.01 ETH, you should still get refunded. I feel like they should be consistent. As far as how that could be prevented in the future, I really think that now, if say I just got into NFTs and was buying stuff and listing it, I think I would have the education I would need to know that in order to cancel listing, I would have to actually pay gas. I think OpenSea's finally done a good job of warning people that, and probably Looks Rare as well. And Looks Rare also has a button that you just mass cancel everything, which OpenSea still for some reason doesn't want to do, or maybe they don't. Maybe it's not part of their technology in their smart contract. But I think they've really done a great job in the past week of making sure that this won't happen to like any new person that were to transfer their NFT out and transfer it back if they want to cancel listing. OpenSea's probably done a lot. They could do obviously more, but they've done a lot better job. It's just when we bought apes at the time, I never had that education. There was never a default setting to time our listings. We would have to click like 4 or 5 different buttons just to make a time listing. So whenever I list my apes, I would do time listings just because I didn't want to pay gas to cancel. But we were just lazy and naive to transfer our apes out and transfer them back in because we kind of relied on the Bible of OpenSea. So if OpenSea didn't show the listing, we just thought, they're not there. So I completely understand why people lost their apes. So I'm not going to be like, oh, you're responsible for anything. And technically, they are. It's the Wild Wild West. But we weren't that educated back then, and hopefully, people coming in now are going to be educated. So I'm glad that they're stepping in and refunding us, and definitely makes the case for other markets like LooksRare to step in and take some of that OpenSea volume out. So I'm really happy that they had already existed.
Awesome.
Definitely. Well, Franklin, before we let you go, just got a couple more questions here. And again, want to remind everyone, obviously not financial advice, going to ask just some opinion questions here. So Franklin, we got news the past couple days that the Ape DAO may be liquidating. They have 81 apes and also own a bunch of other NFTs. So aside from the obvious of, will it happen or what do you think? Do you think, given that they own 81, do you think it would be best to maybe auction these all off together, or is the move to individually price these out and sell them piece by piece? What would you do if you were the owner of these 81 apes?
That's a good question. And like you said, I mean, this is just hot off the press. Even I actually had to check Discord. I was kind of shocked. So 11:58 a.m. Eastern time. Dingaling. That might sound like a funny name to people who just watching.
People who don't know that he also is a big owner. Yeah.
Dingling, who does own the most apes, but that's unrelated to this anyway. Who owns a whole bunch of Ape DAO shares, who bought in really early and really believed in the project, both apes and the DAO, switched his 185,000 tokens to liquidate, because I checked last night and this morning and he was on the side to not liquidate. So something obviously had changed, and his vote alone flips the 50%. So now that we're back on for liquidation, now I can answer the question. If they had 81 apes to liquidate, I think there's ways to kind of keep them off the market and still sort of sell them. You don't have to list 115 ETH, 114. You don't have to list one ape at 115 and then 115, 113, 12, 11, 10, all the way down to 50 ETH. I feel like people will scoop these apes up at a certain. I would say anywhere from 95 to 100 ETH. I feel like they get scooped up. There's a lot of people banging on the doors to get in. A lot of people with mutants who in this case with Ape DAO, I don't know how many mutants they have, but I don't think they would have as much effect on the mutant price as they would on the ape price, just because of the sheer amount of money involved. So there's a lot of people with mutants who are they came up on mutants. They're in my DMs all the time asking for apes. I'm like, nah, I gotta keep my OGs. So, but they they will switch from mutants to Bored Apes in a heartbeat. So there's a lot of demand for people wanting apes. Even if you bought 10, 15 dogs at 2 or 3 ETH, you could liquidate those and get an ape now. So there's a lot of people who are trying to get in with these apes, and not all 81 are floor apes either. So there's probably some nice more rare apes that if they were to flood the market, it wouldn't really affect the floor price, because it's only targeted for people who are buying a lot. So I'm kind of neutral about it. I do admit that me selling the ape yesterday, I sold it for 128 after a day after I bought it for 114. It took one night. So I made that much profit in one night, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't have, as long as I can get into another ape below 128, it's still a profit. So I'm not in any rush to buy it. But with that impending 81 comes to the market, we'll have to make smart decisions, and there's no reason for me to buy a floor ape at this price if I'm going to get undercut by dozens of apes. But I think they're going to be smart about how they want to sell them, and also the Ape DAO holders will get properly compensated, as I think they should, because at the time when they were raising money for the DAO, I should have bought in, but I chose not to, and just time had to run out. I kind of wanted to phone in later, but during the selling, the initial offer, you could get a big chunk of that DAO with 1 or 2 ETH. The issue was that apes also cost that much at the same time. So it's like people back then had to choose whether to buy an ape or buy into the DAO that controls this many apes. And obviously, in my opinion, I think buying the ape would have been a better move, just because you can control the rights. It's your ape. You can make your profile picture. Nobody else can. I mean, they can, but obviously it's your own NFT. You can do stuff with it. You'll get the now Ape coin with it. So that's just, sorry, I didn't mean to inject my personal opinion.
No, you're good. You're good.
I think the market.
We love the info.
Yeah, I think the market will be okay with these coming in. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think it's going to just shoot to the moon. I feel like it's going to be a nice little ease of prices for people to get in. But I do think a lot of people do want to get in at 95 to 100. I think that's a good little dip, nice healthy dip to get everybody in and to reward the people who held on to Ape DAO for all these months.
Definitely a nice win-win balance there. Franklin, another opinion question again, and I stress opinion, not financial advice, but if you had to put a price prediction in ETH on Bored Ape Yacht Club at the end of 2022, could you do it, and what would that number be?
That's a good question. Man, if you asked me this at about the end of 2021, at any point in 2021, I would have been like so wrong. I would have been so low.
Yeah.
Even in the 1st of December of last year, you said, "Oh, what's the price at the end of the year?" I'd have been like probably 50 to 75% of what it actually was. So now that we're here, geez, the only thing that's been this high has been the Genesis, Cyberkongs, and CryptoPunks. And CryptoPunks went to 155 in August, and it fell all the way down to 50s, 60s. And now they're back in the 80s. So I honestly think that if we just took out all the utility, just ignore all that for a second, ignore the mining club, which I'm excited about, ignore all the blockchain games, ignore the 3D models, ignore the Gaio Siri, ignore the people marketing their own apes and Justin Bieber using it for album covers, etc. If we ignore all that and the price went up to 150, I definitely could see a huge pullback when things get 400K and above. That's a really expensive ape. So I could, I don't see it going past 150 if that's the record for CryptoPunks. I would be very shocked if it did, and also very happy. But for the end of the year, if it went up to 150 and dropped, I could split the difference and say 130, 135. That's assuming ETH stay the same. Obviously, if ETH triples or quadruples, the ETH floor price might not be that high, or if ETH drops to $500 or $1,000, then obviously that definitely affects the floor price. But I'm super bullish on the project because I gave that price number without all that utility. Now you add it all in. I forgot about the mutants part, and it could. I mean, with what they have, with what they can bring to the table. I'm talking about the team and the amount of commissions that they made and the amount of partnerships that they have outside. It probably could double based off of different announcements. So if they say, I remember when mutants came out on Tuesday, they said the F word, F it, mutant Saturday, and from Tuesday through Saturday, the whole NFT market went crazy. This was at the end of August. So if anybody wasn't around, that was a crazy moment. You haven't seen it yet. So if today is Tuesday, February 1st, they say F it, ApeCoin Saturday, I think the floor price will hit 130, 140. If you just look at the number of listings right now, it would easily get there. So so my price prediction is sort of changed based off of what they announced and when they announced it. And if they announce ApeCoin and say mutants get 90% of the tokens that Bored Apes do, obviously that would tank the Bored Ape price and compress it to the mutants price. So there's a lot of things that could affect the floor price. Or if they say mutants only get 1% of what the OG apes get, then everybody who has mutants are going to liquidate to try to buy the apes so they can get more ApeCoin. So there's a lot of things in play. I can't predict that, but I guess my best case would be just let's double it again. Let's go to 240, 250 by the end of the year if we include all these bells and whistles. I just think if there was absolutely no utility, we'd see one more leg up and then probably another dip. But there's just so much. The possibilities are endless with this team. So let's come back at the end of the year and see if it's 250.
Love it. Love it. We will. We'll definitely save this video, maybe clip that out. And again, this is not financial advice, just a prediction from one of the biggest holders out there. Franklin, before we let you go, I'm going to drop your Twitter into the chat here, and it is also in the description below.
Nice.
I did see that you are, we talk about Twitter Spaces a lot. That's something Brian does a lot from the Benzinga account. So I know that you do some Twitter Spaces with Ben, who was actually a guest on a previous episode of the Roadmap. Can you tell us a little bit about the Ben Franklin Twitter Spaces that you are a host of?
Thank you. Yeah, I met Ben at NFT NYC. We were minting crypto New Yorkers together at Bright Moments. So Ben's a really cool guy, and he just randomly hit me up, asked me to do the Spaces with him, and nobody's really done. I think, well, maybe some people have, but definitely. I don't think anybody actually asked like a regular scheduled space with me. So that was really like cool to be, somebody that he valued so much. And I really like Ben myself. So it was just a perfect match. And I wasn't aware of his hosting skills until we started on the show. And it was just like a perfect match. Like anybody could be a good co-host with Ben. That's basically how I see it. And like I was saying earlier, I had 30 apes and like 200 followers. I was following people like Ben from the beginning when they had followers in me. So it's not like just because I got a lot of followers, I suddenly lose respect for anybody that has less than me. I still value them the same way. I just assumed that they would grow as many followers as I did. And so somebody like Ben is if you could get in a space with him, I'd very highly recommend it. And so we do our spaces at 5 o'clock Eastern time every Wednesday. We just started recording it 2 weeks ago. So now we have recorded. Last Wednesday, he was on his honeymoon, so we did a space because I don't think my hosting skills can go up the way he does. He has notes, he has websites, he pins tweets all the time. So he's definitely, him alone should be the reason why you join the space. Just, me, I'm just there to talk. But if you really want to hear me talk about stuff, I'm in that space. And I'm free to do a space anytime, any day. Usually just during, I work from home. So if I have like a good, 15, 30-minute break, I can do a space or something. But,
well, yeah, I followed you on Twitter if you want to.
Yeah, we're going to have to get you on
we'll message
some Benzinga Twitter space.
Yeah. Just, let me know. I can be on the stage and talk or do anything like that. So,
we would love that. Right, Brian?
Yeah, for sure. We can make that happen easily.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, again, Franklin's Twitter account is in the description below. You can also find it in the chat. Franklin, thank you for taking time for joining us. Also, shout out to the Creeps for joining us today in the chat as well. Franklin, we look forward to talking to you soon. We're going to have you back on, and of course on those Twitter spaces like we talked. So we will talk to you real soon. Have a good rest of your day, man.
Thank you. I had a blast on here. This is so much fun. So
awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Right,
you want someone to hold an ape for you? Got you, bud.
Right click. My
right click save. There you go.
Clickable. They're right clickable for anybody.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks.
I want that metadata. Metadata.
All right. Well, what a fun interview there with Franklin. Brian, we're running out of time here. I just want to hit on a couple things real quick, and then we do have another show coming up at 3 o'clock. So it's Tuesday, the top 10 NFT projects from the past week. That's in the weekly article I do on Benzinga. You can see it on the screen there. Bored Ape Yacht Club, number 1, 85.4 million, up 129%. No surprise there. Azuki saw continued good sales volume, second place. Mutant Ape Yacht Club, Clone X, CryptoPunks, Killer Girlfriend. And then, of course, I want to highlight Creeps, Shapeshifters, 27.8 million in sales volume. That was a project from the Creeps team, which I know everyone here in the chat is a big fan of. So we are looking forward to hearing more from Creeps soon. Brian, how about Justin Bieber getting into Bored Ape Yacht Club and spending 500 ETH on a ape that many considered not to be rare, right? It had just kind of basic traits, and a lot of people called it a floor ape. What do you think about Bieber getting into Bored Ape Yacht Club, and were you surprised at the price he paid?
I wasn't really surprised. I mean, I don't think money is an object to him, obviously.
Right.
So he probably would have paid whatever, and it doesn't matter. It's what the equivalent of 1.3 million about. it's like, yeah, let's just buy that, forget it. But I think, like we've talked about the past couple days of episodes, where we're seeing more celebrities get in because they see the utility and they want to be a part of the movement. Maybe not publicity. I mean, I don't think Justin Bieber's the kind of guy who cares about publicity at his age and his notoriety. It's like he doesn't need to kind of shake things up or get his name back out there because he's already, world famous. So I think it's just because he's all about it. I like the simplistic ness of this ape too. I think it's it's suiting and it's cool. I wish I had $1.3 million to buy one.
Yeah, and so it's got the sad eyes trait, and when he shared it on Instagram, he actually used the song lyrics to a song called "Lonely" with the hashtag "Lonely Bored Ape." So maybe he was just looking for that particular trait, and sad eyes becomes one of the good traits to have here per Bieber. So we'll definitely be following that story. Brian, speaking of music, I wrote an article on Warner Music Group, right? They partnered with OneOf, which is an NFT platform backed by Quincy Jones. So they're going to help their artists launch NFTs. They also signed a partnership with the Sandbox to launch a musical theme park and concert venue in the Sandbox. So, I mean, Warner Music Group, you got Blake Shelton, Bruno Mars, Cardi B, Ed Sheeran, Gorillaz, Green Day, Kelly Clarkson, Phil Collins, Prince, Rod Stewart, and even Elvin and the Chipmunks. Huge portfolio of musicians. What do you think? I mean, Warner Music Group really going all in here on NFTs.
That's really cool. And I mean, I think the past 6 months, I've been saying that the NFT non-fungible tokens are going to change the music industry as a whole. I mean, it's going to give everybody the rights. You can buy, you can use all this different crazy stuff that's happening, especially going with tickets and memorabilia, just the whole space in general, or the whole entertainment space in general. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's fair for the artists, and it gives back to the artists and lets them be in control of what they want to be in control of. And one big like a producing company doesn't own the rights to a song that you spent your whole life making, and you're only getting 5 cents of every dollar that is made on the song until a couple million are paid off. So now you finally get the rights back to it. So I think it's awesome.
Definitely. And Brian, the last piece of news here again, as we're running out of time, VCon, right, from Gary V and Vayner NFT, VFriends, they are hosting, of course, the inaugural VCon May 19th to May 22nd at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And they announced their second round of speakers and entertainers. So, I mean, we have some NFT artists. We got Amber Vittoria added. We got Bobby Kim from Atom Bomb Squad and the Hundreds. We got Baron Davis, former NBA player. We got Chuck Liddell, former UFC fighter. Guy Osiri from Maverick, who, of course, signed a deal with Bored Ape Yacht Club and World of Women. We got the Cyberconks team. We got Keith Grossman from Time. Mike Novogratz from Galaxy Digital. Randy Zuckerberg from Zuckerberg Media. That's Mark Zuckerberg's sister. We've got Ricky Williams, former NFL player. We've got Sanchin Saxena, who's the Coinbase vice president. So many people attending this event. Steve Aoki. I mean, the speaker list for this event is insane. And I am hoping, again, that I get to go as a member of the Benzinga media team. And we'll try to bring you more updates on VCon as they happen. Well, everyone, we're out of time. I want to thank everyone for tuning in or listening. Of course, this is available as a podcast. And also, you can watch this video after it airs right here on Benzinga's YouTube. And Brian, speaking of Benzinga's YouTube, airing at 3 o'clock right now, as soon as I stop talking, we have an interview with Tommy Chong, of course, of Cheech and Chong, to talk about cannabis, right? Something he probably knows a thing
He's
or
pretty
two
new to
about.
that space.
I think he's new. He might just want some education from the Benzinga team, but stay tuned, everyone. Interview with Tommy Chong coming up next. So thanks, everyone, for tuning into the roadmap. And thanks, of course, to our show sponsor, FTX. You can find the description for the FTX app in the description below, and you can sign up for an account there. Brian, we will be back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.